Well, a right old clamour over the RCD today, the calicivirus. The scientists are ringing alarm bells, and the Minister of Agriculture says cautiously that something good might come of the virus's introduction into New Zealand. We're going to examine some of the issues tonight. Down on the farm, of course, they're cock-a-hoop over the arrival of RCD. They can't wait for the positive rabbit virus test results. We'll speak to the farmers. And also tonight, something positive off the farm, the very fine voice of farm girl Terry Crouch. It scored her a big role in a big musical in Australia. Good evening. What to do about the calicivirus? The debate's hotted up rather tonight. Through the day, we've seen a growing divergence of opinion about the action we should be taking. On the one hand, you've got some scientists saying stop this virus at all costs. And on the other side, you've got people like the Agriculture Minister taking a more moderate line. Lockwood Smith says more information is needed. It may be possible to turn the outbreak to New Zealand's advantage, he says. For the Cromwell farmers, though, the farmers of Central Otago, there's little doubt being expressed. The introduction of the calicivirus, they say it's a godsend, it's something for celebration. And meanwhile, the roadblocks continue tonight. Searches for dead rabbits continue. Regional councils throughout the country are on alert. There are 5 quarantined farms in the Cromwell area. Donald Young owns one of those. The calicivirus has been found in dead rabbits on his place, as you know. Now, Vicky Wilkinson-Baker in Cromwell today with Donald Young and other Cromwell farmers.
Hi.
Welcome to Cromwell. Welcome to RCD territory.
Have you been to any farms at all this evening?
Yeah, I have, yes.
Right. When you were at the farm, did you pick up any rabbit products at all?
No.
At the centre of all this, Donald Young, one of 5 Lowburn farmers who've had their properties quarantined.
I think that's a historical bit of paper, probably the first one ever issued in New Zealand as a restricted place notice.
But it's quite a serious thing, though, as well.
Oh, it is serious.
It's a beautiful part of the country, a land of extremes. Harsh winters, hot summers, a land now ravaged by rabbits.
It's probably the worst it's ever been in all my farming life since 1959. Never seen rabbits as thick as they are in this place, and the degradation of our soils and the rabbit warrens that are dug into the hills are horrendous.
He was battling for answers, so were others.
It's a desperate situation and needs desperate measures. So, if there's a backlash, so be it.
Donald Young is worried people may think he is responsible for bringing in the virus. He says he wasn't.
Is there any way, then, that you imported it from Australia?
No, I had no opportunity to. I have no contacts in Australia that could get it anyway.
For him, it's a blessing. For his friends and neighbours too. They don't care how it got here.
I have no idea.
Jeff?
I have no idea.
No, I'm not sure. There's rumours, but nothing concrete, no.
What sort of rumours?
No, might have got here on big birds or wee birds.
That sounds like it came on a plane.
Well, a tin pigeon.
Yeah.
But for Math, it's serious. Officials want the virus monitored and contained.
Will you help contain it?
I don't believe you can.
But would you actively spread it?
No, I won't spread it.
Down the road, there is no such caution. They're open about the fact they want it spread far and wide.
Would you actively spread it yourself?
If the opportunity arose, yes, I would.
You would do that?
Yes, I would.
Too right.
Yep. Yes, I would do that.
No, we haven't got it yet, but it's very easily sourced.
Well, you could go down to Donald's farm and find a dead rabbit.
Of course.
Well, there's no checkpoint between us and Donald.
The rabbits are dying. The farmers aren't complaining.
Do you think we're going to find out in the next few days that, in fact, it's widespread around this area?
Hope so.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would think so. I would imagine so, yeah.
For farmers, this is their latest tool in the war against the rabbit, a tool they say Math should now endorse.
I have no idea how it came in.
But now that it's here, you're going to capitalise on it?
Absolutely. We'd be mugs not to, wouldn't we? It's been 100 years of rabbit plague in this country, and we've thrown everything known to man against them, and they've beaten us. Let's try this one.
So the view of some of the Otago, central Otago farmers. News of the New Zealand calicivirus outbreak has spread throughout the world. In the United States, a group of calicivirus specialists, there are 5 varieties of calicivirus, have, as fate would have it, been meeting at Carmel, California, the scientist. And New Zealander Dr. Neil Cherry, an environmental epidemiologist at Lincoln, he's up there as well. Also there is Dr. Alvin Smith from Oregon State University. He's been a student of the calicivirus. He's got a laboratory set up for the purpose of studying the calicivirus. Been studying it for 25 years. So what's Alvin Smith's reaction to those farmers' attitudes?
Well, I think they ought not to be so happy, and if they are happy about it, it's because they simply don't understand what they're dealing with.
All right, how much do we know about the calicivirus? How much do we know about its effects on human beings?
You know virtually nothing about the effects on human beings. It hasn't been studied. There has been a small experiment or 2 in Australia. The data is not available for analysis by any group of people. You do know that Mexican workers, for instance, developed antibodies, so you should be suspicious of it. You know that 4 out of the 5 groups of caliciviruses already do infect people, and that's known, causing disease in people. The rabbit hemorrhagic disease at this particular time being the only known exception.
In Australia, you mentioned Australia. In Australia, it's true, isn't it, that there's evidence it's infecting human beings and might be linked, in fact, to hepatitis, skin disease, bleeding disorders, diarrhea, vomiting, and other symptoms?
Well, the problem is that caliciviruses are known to cause all of those symptoms in various animal species. And in human beings, certain caliciviruses are known to cause a deadly hepatitis in pregnant women, known to cause a blistering skin disease, and certainly gastroenteritis, vomiting, diarrhea. So caliciviruses as a group are already known to cause those. The rabbit virus ultimately should prove to be no exception.
At the same time, this particular calicivirus is now in 42 countries. Has anybody died yet? I mean to say, has anybody got seriously ill? What's the problem with it?
No, that's not the question. The question is has anybody looked to see whether anybody who died of calicivirus? The answer is no. They don't have the test, they don't use the test, they do not look for it. Consequently, they don't find it, they don't describe it, and they say it doesn't exist. If you don't look for something, you certainly can't find it, and you can't say it exists if you're not even looking.
But as you say, we know so little about it. I understand we don't even know how it causes the blood clotting that causes the death in the rabbits.
You're exactly right. We don't know the mechanism whereby it kills the rabbits, causing the blood disease. We don't know the exact mechanisms whereby it causes the hepatitis. And these are no doubt genetically coded, and the worry would be that this virus can shut down and turn on and turn off with these particular phenomena, and may even do the same thing if it were incorporated into other viruses through natural exposure.
It is an extraordinary organism, though, isn't it? It came out of China in 1984. We don't really know how it developed in China. Suddenly there it was right through Europe. It suddenly appeared in Mexico. Is this a weirdo virus?
Well, I think so. I use different words for it. It's a very skittery virus. It's unreliable. It's fickle. It's many things you could hang on it. It's an RNA virus, and those are the things you would expect of that. Their genome is unstable. They do what they do, and they don't ask anybody for permission.
What would be your worst fear about the release of the calicivirus in New Zealand at this time? What's the worst case scenario?
Well, the worst case scenario, of course, is spillover into humans causing disease. But the problem now with the introduction in New Zealand, if you don't take very strong measures to eradicate, and I'm sure your Ministry of Agriculture is doing that, much as you would if you had foot and mouth disease. But if you don't do that, then you're simply stuck with this virus. Your livestock come under potential infection with it. Wildlife, there's some question about bird species. Birds seem to be unusually susceptible to this virus. That is, according to the work done in Australia and your own Kiwi work. So the real base that will happen will be it'll eventually spread to other species. That would be expected, and God help us, we hope not humans.
So what about you, Neil Cherry? What's your reaction to the farmers' delight? Should they be so delighted, do you think?
The government has said in its decision that it's not ready for release because it's not the opportune time for release, and this is the worst possible thing that could have happened in terms of the right timing if it was going to be the right virus.
How effective is it as a rabbit control agent? I know that in Western Australia they report that in places, Neil, where the calicivirus has gone through, rabbit populations are now reported to be bigger than ever. So how effective is it?
Well, it's very variable. In some areas it works very well, in other areas it works very poorly. And if you have it at the wrong time, then some animals get immune to it and they just can't, the rabbits don't die and they pass it on to their children. It's a very variable control measure. You just don't know how it's going to react in different climates, for example.
So what should the New Zealand government be doing in your view? I mean, what should MAF be doing?
They should be doing everything they can to eradicate it. That's what the law requires. They should be isolating the area. They should be saying you can't move in and out of the area. They should try to eradicate it.
Yes, but when we consider the infection, the infective possibilities of this calicivirus, that is to say it can go anywhere, seems to travel very fast and very effectively, could we be looking at having to destroy the entire herds, the entire flocks in this country and starting again?
No, that's very radical. The thing we're talking about is early intervention. As soon as possible, while the outbreaks are small, now is the time to act. And also give the message to the farmers, please don't spread it. You are disadvantaging so many people, you're going against the law, and you're making it very, very difficult for this to be a proper program, if it's ever going to be a proper program, but it's totally illegal and it should be stopped right now.
But can we contain it, Neil, even if we want to, Neil Cherry?
Yes, you can if you put the resources in. If MAF does this as it would be doing it with a foot-and-mouth outbreak, if we have those measures in place, you can stop it right now.
Dr. Neil Cherry, who happens to be one of the scientists meeting at Carmel in California. So where does the government stand exactly on this? Should we be moving, as Neil Cherry and Alvin Smith recommend, to a higher state of alert, to a more aggressive eradication program similar to that we'd do for foot-and-mouth disease? Well, that's going to be Winston Peters' decision. He's the acting Prime Minister, and the acting Prime Minister is next.